in the last video, it became very important for you to know that you need time to reflect on where your pattern started by the number. And take yourself back to the time of the number of the day of your birth. If it's a double digit, reduce it to a single digit, which would mean that if you were born on day 1, your time to reflect on is the first year of your life. If your number was 10 of the day of your birth, that's still a 1. And 28 and 19 add up to a 10. So if you are 28, if you were born on the 28th, the 19th, the 10th, or the 1st, your number is number 1. Now take yourself reflectively in a comfortable position back in your mind to age 1. And this is what the Bach essences, as I rewrote them from the original, have to say about your number 1, your experience of life and the conflicts that were involved when you began at that age to build your belief system that you have lived with ever since then. And unfortunately, our belief systems, which are in our left brain hemisphere, our belief system are based on fear, pain, and fear of future pain, and how to try to avoid successfully fear, pain, and fear of future pain. It is the probable negative that recurs every time in the present that you are confronted with the challenge of a negative reaction from outside yourself, or worse, from inside yourself. This is where it started. So Kathy, my dear, if you would be kind enough to read number 1.
This is the Bach essence for year number 1. Right now, the world seems a pretty troublesome, hostile place. While I do my best to laugh things off, they still get under my skin. It takes so much effort to stay on top of it all, and that really exhausts me. It's a jungle out there.
It's a jungle out there. Now, if you're a little 1-year-old lying in the crib, and everyone else is bigger than you are, and they're reaching at you and poking and prodding and feeding or not feeding you, and you're completely at their mercy. Of course it's a jungle out there.
Right, just get their attention. It takes anger and crying.
Because we're not talking at year 1, and we're not in possession of all of our physical capabilities.
Well, we're just learning what they are.
We're just learning what they are, but we are at the mercy of them out there.
Yeah, I was going to say that the words for number 1 on the escalator, on the positive possible, it's choosing to accept. If you're able to choose to accept, it just puts you in a much nicer space. But if you're on the downward negative side, it's no choice. And that's exactly what one at 1 year old can feel like, because they don't even know any other way of communicating.
If you are a number 1 as your essential purpose in this life, your essential purpose in this life is to keep your focus on the positive possible future that you want to have, and not on the negative fear and pain that you're experiencing in the moment. At age number 1, you're just beginning to build your belief system, and no one is there to say, make a choice for the positive possible future that you want to have, my little 1-year-old. We're probably smart enough at 1 to know that that is our job, is to accept what's going on, whether we like it or not, but then to keep our focus on what we want and keep that in mind and visualize that and keep moving toward that. We all did that until the fear and pain of other people's reaction to us overwhelmed us, and we began to, in our belief system, believe that what they wanted was more important than what we felt or what we wanted. Now, if your number of the year of your birth, the day of the year of your birth was a 2, now take yourself back for reflecting on you and the world that you recognized at age 2. And here's the Bach essence for year number 2, remembering that whenever you are in stress, all of you number 2 people out there, this is going to echo in the present from the past. So listen to this.
All right, so if you're at age 2, the subconscious belief system is life is a constant battle of I win, you lose. And more of the time than I'd like to admit, I'm losing. And sometimes I'm overcome with awful bouts of fear, panic even. I can't imagine why either. Yet suddenly I'm in a panic. Oh, the grind of it all. It's such a struggle just to make do, especially when you have needs. So the thing to remember, looking at the numbers on the escalator, is yes, there's anger. And are you willing to accept what it is and pay attention to the relationships that you might be able to create in a more positive way?
Sadly, at age 2, while we can probably speak and we probably have full use of the body that we're in, or at least we think we have full use of the body that we're in, it is a battle of wills that's going on, because our parents or whoever is in charge of us, their will against ours. And as Albertine said, more often than not, I'm losing that battle. And while I try to fake acceptance or kindness or even interest in the elements outside myself, I'm well aware that it is a constant battle of whose will win. Please note, on one side of the escalator going up is what are you willing into existence? Not certainly more anger, which is pointless because it's not going to get you what you want. And if you do indulge yourself in anger, you will take the next stage down on what you don't want, the descending escalator, to ill will, which means ill will, yeah, but it also means your will is ill, because its focus is not on the positive future you want, but on the negative present that you don't want. And you're building that into your belief system. And as Albertine said, it is this battle of I win, you lose on the issue of what is correct for me and what is best for me that makes the terrible 2s. 2 is not terrible. 2 is merely focused on the relationships that you have. but it is based on your reaction to those relationships that will become what you believe is true in all relationships ever after. Well, please remember, if you are a 2, and that means on the day of your birth, any number that adds up to the single digit of 2, you are that 2, such as 11, for instance, or 20, that's a 2. Pay attention as you reflect on this important age in your life. So, moving on to age 3. If that is the day of your birth, which would be 3 or 21 or 30, Kathy will read you the Bach Essence information that will be very familiar to you because you have re-echoed it ever since age 3 when there is conflict on the line.
Age 3. The hell with them. Most people are so stupid, so inconsequential. They say, I'm super critical. So what? Someone has to shape them up. I resent them. I resent my life. God, if only I had something to be enthusiastic about. I'd give almost anything to feel truly alive again.
Remember, all of you 3s, you're echoing from age 3 every time you're in stress or conflict with another person. The hell with them. Most people are so inconsequential, so stupid. They don't listen to me, they overlook me, they don't care about me, they're not interested in me. Doesn't that sound familiar to you? If you're a 3, it certainly should, because you're dealing with that ever since age 3. Not only is it a constant battle with their will versus my will, but my response to them is very negative and very harsh. And remember, in order to get to number 3, you have also passed through number 1 and number 2. On the downside of the escalator, number 2 is anger. So you've learned to sort of suppress your anger. But now the issue is, when will it be my turn? Number 3 is looking at the list of issues and solutions. Is time to create. Yeah, it is time to create at age 3, and we're able to do something with that. Now, the next step is, how do we feel when our creations are rejected or criticized or condemned by others? What are we learning? What do we come to believe at age 3? Thank you, Kathy, which then moves us along to Albertine and the joys of age 4.
All right, so age 4. I'm tired almost all the time, exhausted. It's so hopeless having to live according to others' expectations. I'm feeling victimized because I am victimized all the time by everybody. Even though I know I'm letting it happen, I'm so separated from myself that I seem to have no will of my own. It's awfully depressing.
Age 4. Now we can speak, we can communicate, we can move, we have capabilities from our body that we didn't have at 2 or 3 or 1. Now, at 3, were you in kindergarten? At 4, were you in kindergarten? Certainly at 4, you probably were, and even if you weren't in kindergarten, you were going out beyond the family house limitations. Children in the neighborhood. Kindergarten. Watch out, dears. You were building your belief system And if it started out with anger, well, you are programming yourself to step downward to the next step on the escalator. In fact, if you really have a beginning of your belief system with anger, you're already on the down escalator, which takes us to number 5, if you are a 5. And Kathy will give us the joys of what that was about. But reflect on, what were you at 5? Where were you at 5? Were you in school now, first grade? It's possible you were.
Number 5, deep down I feel betrayed by life itself, and yet I find myself acting as if the guilt was mine. Sure, I have my own opinions, but that's less important than not rocking the boat any more than it's rocking now. I want some validation that I'm okay, even if I have to compromise my own beliefs to get it.
That's really tragic. But we're smart enough at age 5 to understand what the issues and solutions have to say. Time to refocus. That's all we really can do. At 4, we went through feeling victimized. Listen, we were victimized because we were not strong enough within ourselves to stand up against adult authority in a positive way, in a way that would bring us some appreciation and respect.
And also at age 5, we're in kindergarten and we're learning to get validation. We just have to give them what they want. And so as long as we're able to do that, we can feel confident. And on the escalator, we either have self-confidence or we're in self-doubt.
And most of us ended up in self-doubt.
That's right.
Because we were not in an authority position.
Everyone was bigger. Everyone looked down at us.
I love the previous one that says, I feel victimized because I am victimized. That's true for all of us. But if you're listening, any of you whose birthday adds up to the single digit of 5, this is where you lost it. This is where your self-confidence became questionable and you found yourself more in self-doubt than you wanted to believe was correct for you. Time to refocus, 5. The positive possible future you want to create? Or are you really going to go with the echo of the past victimization, futility, hopelessness, at the mercy of the environmental authorities that seem to be running your life? Number 6, if number 6 is the single digit of the day of your birth, such as 15 or 24, then what you are echoing when you are in stress now is based on the failure of your completing what you have created. Look at the escalator page. So, Albertine, if you'd be good enough to read us the horrors of number 6.
At age 6, unless you're being homeschooled, you're at the mercy of the daily routine of attending school and playing by somebody else's rules. So it could feel like this. My life's a flat, gray wasteland. It's hard to go on living when you feel this strung out and wasted. I'm so out of touch with myself. I feel like I'm going to have a nervous breakdown or explode and do something terrible to someone in a fit of blind rage or even to do harm to myself. It's all too painfully bleak.
To, in a fit of blind rage, harm others or to harm myself. Child suicide is very interesting because it seems to happen every 7 years. that at age 7, which we're moving up to after 6, the flat gray wasteland, which would really set us up for I want out. Well, and what are the forms of suicide that a child of 6 or 7 can take? Well, there's the overt accidents happen, illnesses happen, and the illness says that a child of 6 or 7 is likely to involve themselves with, well, they're wonderful items, which have future consequences. Measles, rheumatoid arthritis can begin at that time. Cancer can begin at that time. We are playing with our future by denying our own abilities and strength. We're destroying our future because we will not acknowledge our star power to create the future that we want.
And it's such an interesting time being 6 years old and attending school. And like I said earlier, unless you're being homeschooled and your natural abilities are being encouraged and nurtured, this might be a time when there is a feeling of, feeling guilty because you don't want to play by somebody else's rules. You know who you are. You have a better sense of yourself. You want to feel equal to the task and be encouraged for your own creative completion and fulfillment.
And you want the opportunity to complete what you have begun to create in whatever way it is and in whatever circumstance. This is not just art. It's not just music. But isn't it interesting that by age 7, Mozart had done what? He had also written music. He could also play music. Edison, by age 6, was already inventing things. But having the opportunity and support to complete your musical training, your artistic work, your inventive work, where is the support? And that's what is vital to a number 6, is the support that leads to the completion of whatever the 3-year-old, which is time to create.
Or even 4, when you might start going to kindergarten and there is an enthusiasm, there is curiosity for the things that you're learning and you're being stimulated by playing with other children, going to school, and of course you're going to want to do something with all of that. And it's a pure moment of just creativity. And if you're having to battle with the rules that suppress that, then yeah, it's going to feel a little confusing, and guilty is not a fun place to be.
And if your essential purpose number adds up to 7, if the year of your birth reduced to a single digit, the day of your birth reduced to a single digit is 7, then what is the good news and the bad news?
So the upscale of the escalator is synergizing. And time to be realistic.
I love that. How do you be realistic at age 7? Well, you've just passed through age 6, and if you were not allowed to complete what your creativity had started, it's time to get involved. Synergizing means sharing the positive energy that is around you. That is realistic. What is it to be realistic? Because that's your job, number 7, is to get your head out of the past and to put it on the future that you want to create. If you don't like the past, well, it's up to you to accept what is available today and project from that acceptance of what is available today into creating the future you want.
If you're on the downslope of the escalator at number 7, you're at apathy. You're just feeling
Hopeless.
hopeless,
Helpless.
and depressed. Nothing seems to make a difference.
However, the Bach essence information for 7 is
Number 7, nothing matters anymore. Everything I do seems wrong. So why bother doing anything? The same situations keep coming up again and again, and I never get it right. If zombies have feelings, they must feel what I do, numb. If only I could forget the past.
That's so wonderful because you're age 7. If only I could forget the past. You don't have much of one to forget. But it's been a painful past if you have listened to this progression of Bach essences from 1 to 7. Oh, my dears, your self-doubt, your feeling of being not equal to achieving what you want, your feeling of not being realistic about surrendering to the authorities around you. 7 is a terrible time, and it's going to be echoing in your today, if you're a 7, whenever you are confronted with a really negative reaction to your creativity today. Well, after 7 comes number 8. And what are we looking at with number 8? Number 8, just from the standard numerology point of view, is a number of great success or failure. Whatever it is, it's going to be great. And as my dear life partner Gordon Stokes says, if you learn from a failure, then it's not a failure. In fact, it's a great success. If you learn from your past failures how to create more the success you want in present time, then they're not failures. So, number 8 as a Bach essence.
Number 8. Damn right I'm mad. So would you if you're denied the kind of life you want by others. I get no credit for all the things I do to help and support them. Not even simply understanding. I'm not possessive or demanding. I just want the appreciation due me. And by God, until I get it, there'll be hell to pay.
It's a very strong number, all of you 8s. If the single digit or double digit of your birthday adds up to 8. We have gone through victimization, and we all have done these. We have all this in our belief system based on the probable negatives from the past that we assume and we project into the future. We are blocking our way. And if you are an 8, you've got great strength behind your reaction of negativity, just as you have great strength in your projection of what is possible in the future. You 8s are very, very strong. Let it be for the fulfillment of that which you positively desire to create, and not simply in resistance, very strong resistance, to those who do not appreciate that which you are projecting and building into the future that is positive.
At number 8, when you are feeling resentful because you're doing so much for others, and all you really desire is unity and success, would it be weakness to just abort and throw in the towel, so to speak?
Because you certainly feel like doing that if you've just been through depression and hopelessness. Then wouldn't it be better to simply end it all, destroy the unprofitable thing that is going on in your life right now. Get out of the marriage, get out of the relationship, get out of the partnership. Oh, you dear people, don't you understand that to get out of a relationship by aborting the whole thing, you are also aborting your partnering with life itself. Painful, painful, painful. But on the other hand, an opportunity to create what you want in the future. If the day of your birth is 9, or if it is 18, which adds up to 9, or 27, which adds up to 9, pay attention. You are now at age 9 in reviewing what was going on in your life, and here is what you need to recognize the negatives of number 9.
Number 9, nobody's interested in me, and I resent that deeply. So I just withdraw into my thoughts and stick to my own company. What I make up mentally is a lot more interesting than what's going on out there, in any case. Until someone takes an interest in me, I'm not going to show interest in anybody. If I have to be alone, I'd rather be by myself.
Number 9 is a number of withdrawal, feeling alone, but I love the message. If I have to be alone, I would rather be by myself, because what I'm doing in my head is so much more interesting than the life I perceive around me. Well, good. If it's more interesting, then why don't you use what is going on in your head as a projection into the future of how you can create and have what you want, as opposed to simply withdrawing into the position of, I am not part of the world around me. Number 9, you are at a final outcome of the first years of your life. Let it be the celebration of your future possibilities, not the surrender to the fear and pain that you have growing up, that you are now projecting. If you are doing this, if you're projecting that into your future, you have no real future. Why should you have a future if it's only going to be more fear and pain? You have learned how to avoid fear and pain as much as you possibly could, but you haven't learned how to create the final outcome, the future that you want. Let your focus be on how I can create the future that I want. Number 9, if you do not create the future that you want, you will be overwhelmed with negative possibilities every time you approach final outcome of a relationship, of a creative project. Every time you are near completion, you will destroy the successful completion of that creation. Put your focus on the final outcome and that you want, and how you can move toward that step by step right now.